Alright, so in this lesson here, what we're going to do is take a look at how we can add some of our own custom text that we've created in some sort of, paint type program like Photoshop into our matinee sequence. So first what we need to do is come to some sort of program like Adobe Photoshop. So here we are inside of Photoshop. Let's go ahead and create a texture. So I'll come up here to File. We'll do a new file, and this document's going to be, let's do 1024 by 1024. Mode's going to be RGB color, and we want to make sure that it's transparent. So I'll go ahead and click New, and let's see if we can give some sort of real good corny text. So let's go to bright blood red and text something along the lines of terror from the deep.
Ooh.
Is that good and scary? Are you scared now, Joel?
I am totally freaked out.
You're really scared?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can even grab that and change it up to maybe 180. Let's try. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll just move this to about right there. Now, this whole thing is going to be stretched out to fit your camera area. So this is going to work pretty good. So about right there. So I'm going to do a File and Save As. And what we want to do is save this out as a Targa file. So I'll go ahead and come down to looking, Targa. And then the name that we're going to save this out as, by the way, I'm saving it up under my matinee folder, so where my project is. I'm going to save this as something like Movie Text 1. Good enough. And we'll go ahead and hit Save. And okie doke. Alright, now let's go ahead and replace this with a second text. Let's say a 3D Buzz Production. And maybe we might need to adjust this just a little bit. Like right about there looks pretty good. And we'll do a File, Save As, and again down here to a Targa. And we'll do this as Movie Text 2. Not very descriptive, but I know what it is, and you guys know what it is, so we're all happy. So we're done. That's it for Photoshop. So now what I want to do is go ahead and come over here into UnrealEd and show you how we get this these new textures into UnrealEd and then use them. So first of all, let's go ahead and come up here and open up our texture browser, and then I'm going to come up here to File, come down to Import, and inside of Matinee I'm going to import Movie Text 1 and Movie Text 2. Actually, let's just do these one at a time because I want to demonstrate something interesting here. So we'll grab the first one. We'll tell it, okay, let's go ahead and import this texture. Now, what package do I want to save this in? I'm going to save this in my level so that this is self-contained within the level file itself. Group, I don't need no group. Name, Movie Text 1 is fine. And here's what's very important. Up under Options, I need to make sure that Alpha is checked. If I do not check Alpha, what's going to happen is I'll get my pretty red text, but I'm going to have white all around it. So I'm not going to see through to the actual level as the camera's flying along. So we'll go ahead and check Alpha, and I'll go ahead and tell it OK. And then so here we are, and we'll cruise on down, and look at that. Terror from the deep. And there's a bunch of other textures that are already in here as well. I guess I could have given it a group like movie text or something, but that's good. So now let's go ahead and come up here and import again. So let's import the second one, but this time let's see what happens if I forget to check the alpha down here. So we'll go ahead and tell it OK. So now I can simply cruise on down, and looks kind of scary, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Looks very scary, actually. So if I come over here and I right-click on this, and I come over here to Properties, and inside my Texture Properties right here, if I come over to Surface and expand Surface, I can come down to B Alpha Texture and set this to True, and everything's going to be fine. So don't panic if you forget to check alpha inside the dialog when you first import the text. You're still, or the texture of text, you're still okay because you could adjust it right here. So with that all set, we can go ahead and close this out. I'm going to go ahead and select Terror from the Deep to start with. Now, how do we use this? Well, first thing, of course, you've got to have the texture selected, which is what I've done there. So let's go ahead and minimize this. Come back over here into Matinee. We're going to be working with our first scene manager, the one that's responsible for controlling the actual viewport camera when you're, triggered off and you're watching and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay, lack of words. Okay, so let's come over here to Actions, and I want this text to show up in this first segment right here. So I'm going to start out with the first duration of with this guy selected, the first action, and the segment is 8 seconds long. So let's come over here to Sub-Actions, and I'm going to add a sub-action in, a sub-action camera effect. So let's go ahead and add the camera effect in, and here's how it's going to work. First of all, we have a start alpha and an end alpha, and this controls the fade of the text. So I'm fading from nothing at all to fading the text all the way in. So that'll fade it in going from 0 to 1. Now, the delay and the duration. The delay is, do I want this to start immediately? Let's say it's going to take 2 seconds before we start fading it in, period. And then how long does it take to go from 0 to 1? Well, we set that with duration down here. So let's say that it's going to take maybe 3 seconds for it to fade all the way in. Okay, so now we've got 5 seconds so far that we're dealing with. Now, well, that's set pretty good. This is a very important property right here. Disable after duration. It's currently set to false. If you leave this on false, guess what? This text is now, you're going to become, or this texture is going to become your best friend because it's going to stay stuck to the camera as you continue running around. So disable after duration, true. Okay?